Anna was a strikingly beautiful young woman with a heart full of dreams and aspirations. Growing up in a small, lovely village in Cameroon, she often found herself lost in thoughts of a luxurious life. Her dreams extended far beyond the simple, predictable rhythms of village life. Anna longed for the excitement and opportunities that a big city could offer. With a mix of determination and youthful optimism, she decided to leave her village and move to Yaoundé, the bustling capital city of Cameroon. Her grandparents, who had raised her with love and care, were left saddened and worried by her departure. Despite their request and the deep bond they shared, Anna was resolute. On the day of her departure, the village was enveloped in a sad mood. Anna's grandparents stood at the edge of their modest home, their faces printed with concern and sorrow. They watched as Anna, with a mix of excitement and determination, packed her belongings. Her decision to leave the village, which had been her home and her sanctuary, was final. She was ready to chase her dreams in the big city, leaving behind the familiarity and safety of her childhood. As she prepared to leave, Anna turned to her grandparents one last time. "I will never come here again," she said firmly, her voice tinged with both resolve and a touch of sadness. Her grandparents, understanding that her mind was made up, did not try to argue further. They knew that Anna was headstrong and that she believed in the dreams she had for her future. With her belongings in a small suitcase and a heart full of ambition, Anna left the village, without a look back. The journey to Yaoundé was both exciting and intimidating. She dashed into the small train station in Ika village, and caught the first train. She got a seat by the window. The train started few minutes later and Anna didn't give a look back. As the countryside gave way to the urban landscape, Anna's excitement grew. She imagined the life she would create, the opportunities she would seize, and the freedom she would enjoy. Upon arriving in Yaoundé, Anna was immediately struck by the city's energy and pace. The crowded streets, the bustling markets, and the tall buildings were a far cry from the quiet, slow-paced life she had known. Despite the initial surprise, Anna felt invigorated. She found the address of her sister's home, a small house in a lively neighborhood, and began her quest for the fabulous life she had always dreamed of. Anna's early days in the city were filled with a sense of adventure. She explored every corner, made new friends, and immersed herself in the vibrant culture of Yaoundé. The sense of regret she feared might haunt her was nowhere to be found. Instead, she felt liberated and determined to make the most of her new life. On the other hand, Anna's grandparents struggled with her absence. Their home felt emptier without her presence, and their hearts ached with worry. They hoped she would find the happiness and success she sought, even as they feared the challenges she might face alone in the city. Despite their sadness, they respected Anna's decision, holding on to the hope that one day she might return. But what they didn't know was that they will never see her again. Anna's bold decision to leave her grandparents and her village behind marked the beginning of a new chapter in her life. Her declaration of never returning was a testament to her resolve and ambition. As she embraced the excitement and opportunities of city life, she didn't carry with her the lessons and love from her past, even as she forged a path toward an uncertain future. The journey ahead would test her in ways she could not yet imagine. In the first days, she stayed at her sister's home. Anna's sister lived in a nice and crowded area where people talked to each other. Everybody in the neighborhood was friendly and the houses were quite comfortable. In Yaoundé, Anna was captivated by the vibrancy and fast-paced lifestyle. She imagined herself marrying a wealthy man who could provide her with the luxurious life she had always dreamed about. She dreamed of grand houses, expensive clothes, and a life free from the struggles she had known in the village. While the neighborhood was charming and vibrant, it was not without its challenges. The crowded living conditions sometimes led to tensions and disputes among residents. However, the community's resilience and strong sense of solidarity often helped to resolve conflicts amicably. Neighbors looked out for one another, offering support in times of need, which added to the area's appeal Anna's experienced initially. Anna was captivated by the neighborhood's lively atmosphere and the warmth of its residents. The sense of community provided a stark contrast to the isolation she felt in her village. However, life in the city was not as easy as Anna had imagined. Despite her beauty and charm, she struggled to find her footing in the new environment. After the excitement of their first encounter, she realized that living in another person's house is challenging, even your sister. Her sister was married with 5 children and life wasn't easy at home. She soon became like the maid who helped to take care of the children. She also was in charge of the housework. She needed to have her own space and live freely. One day, while wandering through the streets, she met Manga, an ordinary man working as a mechanic. Manga was living in the same neighborhood. He had recently lost his mother. He was a simple-minded man, and he was willing to build a family and take care of it. He had been immediately captivated by Anna's beauty and grace. He was a humble, hard-working man with a kind heart and a gentle behavior. Manga's personality was a sharp contrast to the wealthy men Anna had envisioned for herself. He was not rich, but he was genuine, caring, and deeply in love with her. Manga saw beyond Anna's beauty and recognized the strength and vulnerability within her. He admired her courage to leave her village and pursue her dreams, even though life in the city had not turned out as she had hoped. On the other hand, Anna was initially hesitant about Manga. She was still holding on to her dreams of a wealthy husband and a fabulous life. But as she spent more time with Manga, she began to see the depth of his character. Manga was incredibly hardworking and dedicated to his job. He took pride in his work as a mechanic and was always willing to help others. His kindness and sincerity slowly won Anna over. Anna's personality also began to evolve. She was naturally ambitious and determined, traits that had driven her to leave her village in the first place, but she also possessed a softer side, one that was compassionate and empathetic. Manga's love and support helped her to embrace these qualities. She realized that wealth and luxury were not the only measures of a successful life. Happiness, love, and a supportive partner were just as important, if not more so. Anna and Manga's relationship blossomed into a deep and stable love. They got married and started a family together, having 4 beautiful children. Life was not always easy, but they faced their challenges together, with unwavering support for each other. Manga continued to work as a mechanic, and Anna found joy in raising their children and creating a loving home. She also decided to find a job as a teacher in kindergarten. Over time, Anna's dreams still grow in her mind. She no longer wanted to be a housewife, she still yearned for the superficial glamour she once sought. Her family life was simple and ordinary, far from what she was dreaming of. The date. Although Annie was married to Manga with 4 children, she met a handsome and sophisticated man named Kristoff. He came to pick up his child from kindergarten one sunny morning, and they met. After a few days of chattering, she started to date with him. It was almost noon when Anna first met Kristoff. She had just arrived at the kindergarten to start her duty. The air was warm, filled with the sound of children's laughter and the rustling of leaves. As she waited near the playground, a man approached, carrying a small bouquet of flowers. He was tall, with striking features and an air of confidence that immediately drew attention. Kristoff was a handsome man in his early 40s. He had a chiseled jawline, piercing brown eyes, and a charming smile that seemed to light up his entire face. His well-groomed appearance and stylish clothing hinted at a life of sophistication and success. Kristoff was a charismatic individual, with a way of making people feel at ease around him. He released an aura of confidence and charm that was hard to resist. Anna noticed Kristoff standing near the entrance, seemingly waiting for someone. He looked around, his eyes meeting hers. He smiled warmly and approached her, with a charming smile. "Hello there. I'm Kristoff. I couldn't help but notice you seem to be waiting. Too? Are you a teacher here or came to pick up your child?" Anna, slightly nervous, but smiling back, answered. "Yes, I am. I'm Anna. Nice to meet you, Kristoff." They exchanged pleasantries, and Kristoff handed the bouquet to a little girl who came running towards him. As they chatted, Kristoff's easygoing nature and charm quickly put Anna at ease. They discovered they had children in the same class, and their conversation flowed easily. Over the next few days, Anna and Kristoff continued to bump into each other at the kindergarten. Their conversations grew longer and more personal. They found themselves sharing stories about their lives, their children, and their dreams. Kristoff was attentive and genuinely interested in Anna, making her feel special and appreciated.
It wasn't long before Kristoff suggested they meet outside the kindergarten. Kristoff, with a hopeful look. Anna hesitated, knowing she was married to Manga and had a family, but the allure of Kristoff's charm and the excitement of something new was hard to resist. She agreed, and they met for coffee the following week. Their first date was filled with laughter and a sense of connection that Anna hadn't felt in a long time. Kristoff was attentive, complimenting her and making her feel valued. As their dates became more frequent, Anna found herself increasingly drawn to him. An affair quickly started between the two. Despite knowing it was wrong, Anna began to date Kristoff secretly. They met whenever they could, stealing moments of intimacy and excitement. Kristoff was aware of Anna's marital status but was undeterred. His feelings for her were strong, and he was determined to win her over. "Anna, I know this might be complicated, but I've fallen deeply in love with you. I can't imagine my life without you. I want us to be together, truly together. Will you leave your husband and marry me?" Anna's heart raced as she looked at Kristoff. She was torn between the life she had built with Manga and the intense feelings she had for Kristoff. The proposal left her with a profound decision to make, one that would change the course of her life and the lives of those around her. Kristoff's proposal marked a hot moment in Anna's life. She now faced a choice between the security and familiarity of her family and the passionate and exciting future promised by Kristoff. The path she would choose remained uncertain, but the impact of her decision would resonate deeply, altering the fabric of her existence.
The dating period, they started to date. She was crash in love. They met in hotels or in his house, spending all her spare time with him. Once Anna and Kristoff began their clandestine affair, the thrill and excitement of their relationship quickly took over Anna's life. She was swept off her feet by Kristoff's charm and the intoxicating feeling of being in love. They met frequently, often sneaking away to spend time together in hotels or at Kristoff's house, away from prying eyes. Their meetings at restaurants and hotels were filled with passion and secrecy. The anonymity of the hotel rooms added to the allure, creating an atmosphere where they could fully escape from their everyday lives. Each rendezvous was an adventure, starting with hushed phone calls to arrange their meetings and ending with whispered goodbyes. In these moments, Anna felt liberated from the responsibilities and monotony of her daily routine. The luxurious settings of the hotels they chose offered a stark contrast to her usual surroundings, further intensifying the sense of romance and escapism. When they weren't meeting at hotels, Anna and Kristoff spent time at his house. His home was elegant and tastefully decorated, reflecting his sophisticated lifestyle. It was a place where Anna could let her guard down and be herself, far from the judgments of society and the watchful eyes of her family. Kristoff's house became a sanctuary for their love affair. They would cook meals together, enjoying intimate dinners by candlelight. They spent hours talking, laughing, and sharing their dreams and fears. Kristoff was attentive and caring, always making Anna feel special and cherished. Soon they were used to their romantic escapades. Kristoff planned numerous romantic escapades for them. They took long drives to the countryside, explored hidden cafes in the city, and went on spontaneous trips to nearby towns. Each outing was an opportunity to deepen their connection and create cherished memories. Their time together was filled with small, tender moments. Kristoff would surprise Anna with flowers, write her heartfelt notes, and bring her little gifts that showed he was always thinking of her. These gestures made Anna feel loved and valued, something she felt had been missing in her life. Despite these feelings brought an emotional turmoil in her mind. Despite the joy and excitement, the affair was not without its emotional turmoil. Anna was constantly torn between the intense feelings she had for Kristoff and the guilt and fear of being discovered. The secrecy and lies began to take a toll on her, causing moments of doubt and anxiety. Kristoff, aware of Anna's inner conflict, tried to reassure her. He was patient and understanding, always ready to listen to her concerns. His unwavering support made it harder for Anna to resist him, even as the weight of her deception grew heavier. Anna's affair required her to lead a double life, balancing her time between her family and her lover. She became adept at creating excuses and managing her time to ensure she could meet Kristoff without arousing suspicion. However, the effort of maintaining the facade was significant, and there were times when the stress seemed overwhelming. Despite the challenges, Anna's feelings for Kristoff only grew stronger. The sense of being truly seen and loved by him was something she couldn't easily let go. She found herself dreaming of a future with Kristoff, even as she struggled with the implications of such a choice. The dating period between Anna and Kristoff was marked by intense passion, excitement, and emotional complexity. Their secret meetings, romantic escapades, and deep conversations created a powerful bond between them. However, the affair also brought significant turmoil into Anna's life, as she struggled with the consequences of her actions and the difficult choices she faced. The proposal. One evening, after a particularly romantic dinner, Kristoff took Anna to a quiet, private park in Yaoundé. The moonlight reflected off the leaves, casting a magical glow over the scene. Kristoff held Anna's hand, looking deeply into her eyes. Kristoff, with sincerity and determination, asked, "Anna, I know this might be complicated, but I've fallen deeply in love with you. I can't imagine my life without you. I want us to be together, truly together. Will you leave your husband and marry me?" Anna's heart raced as she looked at Kristoff. She was torn between the life she had built with Manga and the intense feelings she had for Kristoff. The proposal left her with a profound decision to make, one that would change the course of her life and the lives of those around her. The moonlight reflected off the leaves, casting a magical glow over the scene. Kristoff held Anna's hand, looking deeply into her eyes, with sincerity and determination. Without a great surprise, she agreed to marry Kristoff. Even if that meant to quit 4 children and a loving husband. Kristoff's proposal marked a pivotal moment in Anna's life. She now faced a choice between the security and familiarity of her family and the passionate, exciting future promised by Kristoff. The path she would choose remained uncertain, but the impact of her decision would resonate deeply, altering the fabric of her existence. The announcement. Anna chose a quiet evening to break the news to Manga. The children were playing in their rooms, and the house was enough quiet. She took a deep breath, her heart beating, as she approached Manga, who was sitting in the living room, reading a newspaper. With a voice trembling but determined, Anna said, "Manga, we need to talk." Manga looked up, feeling the gravity in her voice. He put the newspaper down and gave her his full attention. Manga looked at her, frowning slightly. "What is it, Anna? You seem serious." Anna, taking a deep breath, replied. "Manga, I've made a decision. I'm leaving you. I've been seeing someone else, and I want to be with him." Manga's reaction was a shock. The words hit Manga like a physical blow. His face drained of color, and his eyes widened in shock and disbelief. Manga was stunned when raising his voice. "What? You're leaving me? For someone else?" "Anna, what are you talking about?" "Anna?" Anna was afraid of his reaction, but tried to remain calm. "I know this is hard to hear, but I've been unhappy for a long time. Kristoff makes me feel alive again. I need to follow my heart." Then followed the violent argument between the two. "How dare you, Anna, after all I have done for you?" As the initial shock began to wear off, Manga's mind raced. The late nights, the secrets phone calls, the sudden interest in dressing up, it all started to make sense. His disbelief quickly turned to anger. Manga's voice shaking with anger and hurt cried, "You've been planning this, haven't you? How long has this been going on, Anna? How could you do this to us, to our family?" Anna tearfully said, "I'm so sorry, Manga. It wasn't supposed to happen this way, but I can't go on living a lie." Manga, angrily, standing up, shouted, "You need to be true to yourself? What about our children? What about me? Do you have any idea what this will do to them? To us? You need to be true to myself. Do you really prefer a stranger to your own children? Are you crazy? I can't believe you're doing this to me." Anna, struggling to hold back tears, replied, "I know it's hard to understand. But I can't stay in this marriage just for the sake of the children. They deserve to see their parents happy, even if it means we're not together. The divorce that followed few days later were filled with tension and grief. Manga, though deeply hurt and angry, understood that dragging out the process would only make things worse for the children. They quickly filled out the divorce papers, both knowing that their marriage was beyond repair. Manga tried to stay calm for the sake of the children. We need to do what's best for the kids, Anna. They shouldn't have to suffer because of our mistakes. Anna, nodding, her voice soft with regret, I agree. I'll always be their mother, and I'll always be there for them. A challenging new chapter in Manga's life. As the reality of the situation sank in, Manga began to struggle with the challenges ahead. Raising 4 children alone would be frightening, but he was determined to be strong for them. He knew that he would have to navigate this difficult period with resilience and strength. Manga, speaking to himself after Anna left. I have to do this. For them. We'll get through this. Together. The day Anna left the house was somber. She packed her belongings quietly, the weight of her decision evident in her every move, children looking at her without understanding. She hugged each of the children, promising to stay in touch and be there for them, though the words felt empty in the face of their confusion and pain. Tears streaming down her face as she hugged the children to say goodbye. I'm sorry, my babies. I hope one day you could understand me. Manga, stoically, but with a hint of sadness. We don't need you anymore. We'll manage somehow. As Anna walked out the door, the reality of her new life hit both of them hard. Manga stood by the window, watching her leave, his heart heavy with anger and the weight of the future. He knew that the road ahead would be challenging, but he was determined to face it head-on, for the sake of his children. Meanwhile, Anna stepped into the unknown, her mind a tumult of guilt, fear, and the faint hope of a new beginning. Difficult times for children. For the 4 children it was the beginning of a violent storm, each one reacting as well as possible. Anna and Manga's 4 children each faced their own set of challenges as tough times followed upon the family. Their individual personalities and responses to the situation reflected their unique characters and coping mechanisms. Jan, a teenager still in high school, immediately stood against his mother's decision. He was the elder of the 4 children, and felt a tremendous burden of responsibility. As the oldest, he believed it was his duty to support and protect his siblings and parents. Outwardly, Jan maintained a calm and composed behavior, keeping a low profile to avoid drawing attention to the family's struggles. However, inside, a storm of anger and frustration brewed. He was deeply affected by the hardships they faced and often felt powerless to change their situation. Despite this, Jan channeled his anger into determination, focusing on his studies and working hard to create a better future for himself and his family. From that day, he acted as if his mother was dead. Chloe, the second child, was 16. She was like a beautiful yellow flower that shone in the sun. Her skin tone was bright and shining, her eyes brown and fiercey. She was a vibrant and outgoing young girl, proud and confident about the future. That day, she suddenly faded as if someone had turned the lights off in her mind. Chloe the optimist, shattered in one click. Chloe found her faith in the goodness of life severely tested. She tried to maintain a positive front for her siblings, but the cracks in her cheerful behavior began to show. Chloe felt betrayed by her mother and struggled to reconcile her love for Anna with the hurt she felt. Without any guidance, she found a comforting hand in a boy of her age. She started to date him and she got pregnant, worsening her own life. Despite her efforts to stay hopeful, Chloe was deeply affected, often crying in private where no one could see her pain. Chloe turned into a shy and depressive girl, often crying silently in her room. Leo, the defiant rebel, was suddenly out of control. Leo's rebellion took on a more destructive edge. Already turned to defiance, he now channeled his anger towards both his parents. Resentful of his mother for her betrayal and his father for not being able to keep the family together. Leo's outbursts became more frequent and severe, leading to conflicts at school and at home. He acted out more aggressively, using his rebellion as a shield against his emotional turmoil. Sarah, 3 years old, was still a child. Sarah retreated further into her world of dreams and fantasies. As the youngest child, couldn't fully understand the complexities of the situation, but she felt the pain and tension acutely. Her drawings and stories took on darker, more somber tones, reflecting the chaos around her. Sarah's imagination became her sanctuary, but it also isolated her from the reality her family was facing. So the entire family went bad as days ran away. The once united family now found itself completely broken. Each member dealt with the pain in their own way, but their individual coping mechanisms only widened the distance between them. Friends and extended family tried to intervene, offering advice and support. Anna remained stuck in her decision, captivated by her new lover. The children's relationships with their mother grew badly, filled with confusion and hurt. Manga's attempts to restore order and harmony seemed impossible. The breakdown from Anna's actions left lasting scars on the family. The emotional wounds got bad beneath the surface, as each person struggled with their own feelings of betrayal, anger, and sadness. The journey ahead would be difficult, requiring immense strength and resilience to heal and rebuild their lives from the one fragments of what once was a loving family. Anna has now started a new life, trying to ignore the chaos she had created. But soon, she will face the bad side of her decision. True colors. From dream to reality. Anna had started her brand new life with a new man, dreaming of a fabulous life she deserved. Anna was again dreaming of an amazing life with her lover filled with amazing things. Trying to escape the feeling of guilty as she left husband and children. She focused on her new life. Her new life with Kristoff was filled with a mix of emotions that run from hope and excitement to guilt and fear. Leaving her husband and children behind was one of the hardest decisions she had ever made, and it weighed heavily on her heart. Anna was overwhelmed with a sense of excitement and hope. She had long dreamed of a life filled with luxury, romance, and being with Kristoff seemed to promise all of that. The thought of exploring new places, dining at fancy restaurants, and living in a beautiful home filled her with a sense of happiness. This is what I've always wanted. A chance to live the life I've dreamed of. With Kristoff by her side, everything seemed possible. She tried to focus on the positive aspects of her decision, convincing herself that she deserved to be happy and that this new life was her chance to finally experience true happiness. However, beneath the surface of her excitement, a deep sense of guilt troubled her. She couldn't shake the image of her children's confused and hurt faces as she left. The weight of abandoning them and Manga, who had been her partner for so long, was a constant presence in her mind. In an effort to manage her conflicting emotions, Anna constantly tried to reassure herself. She told herself that she deserved to be happy and that she was doing the right thing by following her heart. She sticked in the belief that her children would eventually understand her decision and that they would be better off seeing her happy, rather than trapped in an unhappy marriage. I'll make it work. I have to. Kristoff and I will build a beautiful life together. Anna's feelings about her decision were a tumultuous mix of hope, guilt, fear, and determination. While she dreamed of an amazing life filled with the things she had always longed for, the reality of her choices brought a complex reality. They moved together in his house, but the honeymoon didn't last longer. Soon he showed his true colors. Quick to get angry and overjealous towards his woman. Soon the honeymoon turned into battlefield. The man she loved was suspicious about everything. He had decided to manage her salary and keep the money and control her spending. The illusion shattered very quickly. Anna's new man, once charming and attentive, quickly became possessive and overbearing. His jealousy was suffocating, manifesting in constant accusations and suspicions about her fidelity. Small disagreements grew into intense arguments, turning their home into a battlefield. The man she once loved became someone she hardly recognized, his paranoia and controlling nature overshadowing any remnants of the romance that had drawn her to him. She wasn't allowed to have any visit from friends. Even the close relatives were hardly accepted. One of the most troubling aspects of their relationship was his decision to control Anna's finances. Under the guise of managing their money, he took charge of her salary and kept the majority of it for himself. Anna, who had once envisioned a life of luxury and independence, found herself financially dependent on a man who increasingly treated her more like a property than a partner. The freedom she had sought in the city was replaced by a new kind of captivity. The first slap happened one day when Anna came late from school. Kristoff refused to listen to any of her explanations. He flew into a rage and hit her so hard that tears filled up in her eyes. She forgave the first slap and decided to hide the incident, wanting to protect his young family. In fact, she was digging her own grave. The violence became a recurring issue. Anna, increasingly isolated and ashamed, sank deeper into a destructive silence. She wished she could turn back the hands of time. Anna was trapped between shame and regrets. Each new injury, both physical and emotional, pushed her further from her ideal life. The walls of their home silently witnessed her suffering. As the reality of her situation became clearer, Anna felt a profound sense of regret. And the price she paid was far greater than she had expected. She realized that the fabulous life she had dreamed of was a mere illusion. The contrast between her current life and the warmth and love of her former family was stark. The betrayal she had inflicted on her husband, Manga, and her children weighed heavily on her conscience. Trapped in this relationship she didn't know how to escape. Trapped in a toxic relationship, Anna began to reflect deeply on her choices. The dream of wealth and glamour had blinded her to the true value of the life she had left behind. She now faced a crossroads, remaining in a relationship that was destroying her spirit, or find the strength to leave and perhaps seek for forgiveness from Manga. The journey ahead would not be easy. Anna needed to find the courage to reclaim her independence and confront the consequences of her decisions. Whether her family would accept her back, and if she could rebuild the trust and love she had once taken for granted, remained uncertain. Yet, in her heart, she had learned that true happiness and fulfillment could only be found through honesty, love, and the support of those who genuinely cared for her. After few months together, Anna took the decision to quit this toxic union. She will be starting a new life, all alone. Going back to Manga was impossible. How could she solve that big dilemma? She only expected that one day her children will forgive her. Anna's story serves as a poignant reminder of the dangers of chasing superficial dreams at the expense of genuine relationships. Her experience with her new lover exposed the harsh reality that not all that glitters is gold. The true richness of life lies not in material wealth, but in the love, trust, and support of family. Now, Anna faced the daunting task of beginning her life and finding a way back to the love she had once forsaken. Share with friends and subscribe.